Hi everyone, my name's Pieta Valentine. I've written 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. Today's video is on when is it okay to keep someone with dementia at home with you. Now, no doubt you've been receiving a lot of advice on this. Many people will have suggestions and opinions on it. But the most important thing is that if the situation is manageable, if you are managing to support the person with dementia, if they are managing, then it is okay to keep the person with dementia at home. And I'll just go into some key signs of what is okay and what is not okay in this video. So what is okay? So with the person with dementia, and in terms of whether you can keep them at home or not. So, and some of the typical signs. So of course, you know, it may be that the person is into repeating things that they say, you know, over and over and over. And is that manageable or not? Well, there's a lot of ways actually of dealing with this. And firstly, if you are a person that has patience and tolerance, and you can just let it, you know, go over your head like, you know, water off a duck's back, that's a major advantage with someone with dementia who repeats themselves because they've forgotten what it is that they've just said. Or if, you know, you can divert them and distract them onto another activity so that, you know, they forget about what they're saying and they become interested and focused in something else. You can engage them in an activity like a jigsaw puzzle or, you know, a television program that they like. So have, you know, a few things up your sleeve as to things that you know that interest them and engage them. Have them at hand so that when they start to get into that repeating situation, then you can divert them with another activity. Now, another thing in terms of what can be manageable with a person at home, but which is frustrating, of course, is when things get lost. Valuable things get lost. Yes, that's not at all good. Like, you know, keys, passports, you know, medications. Because the person, you know, with dementia maybe partly remembers where they are or just, you know, fiddling around looking here and there for things, which they sometimes do, you know, just go around sorting through stuff for no reason. And these valuable items can get lost and go anywhere. So it is a good idea for valuable items, such as, you know, the keys, the passports, the medications, to put them in your room. I would say if you're in separate rooms, that is, but you may be in the same bedroom. But to put them in a place where you know the person can't find them or they are unlikely to go. You know, it might have to be in the garage somewhere in a high up, you know, container or whatever it is. But if you can't find a place, then you might just have to get a box with a key, you know, and the box can be against the wall or bolted onto a table or something or other in the garage. And then you can keep all the things there because it's really important. These things are really important because it's so stressful and demanding, you know, trying to find, you know, the car keys or, you know, the medications, these important things. You will already be stretched, chances are, caring for the person with dementia. Then another thing like having to go around finding stuff is an extra stress, you know? So even if the person is inclined towards putting things in the wrong place or, you know, it's not intentional, but, even if this has happened only once or twice, but you find that it's, you know, maybe 3 times that sort of happened now within a couple of days, whereas before it wasn't happening at all, you know, think in advance on these things and get things in place quickly. So, you know, then you don't have to. And if they're a shorter person and you put it up high, you know, and they're not likely to get up on the step ladder, well, you know, like in a bathroom cabinet or something, that, or maybe on top of the wardrobe where they're not likely to look at it. And you've got a step ladder nearby which you can sort of get up to the box up there. You know, whatever it is, just make it convenient for you with all these valuable items. And that's just another stress, you know, that you can reduce. Another thing, of course, is getting lost. okay, you need to be able to find a way of mitigating this pretty much completely if the person is to stay at home safely with you. So, yeah, it's a big thing, but if the person is likely to go wandering, go out the house, take off, up the highway or along the road, somehow, it's difficult and demanding as it is, you need to find a way if you've got an outside area, to lock the gate and just have that outside area where they can walk, and then maybe you might have to lock the front door, and hopefully the person will accept it, because for them to stay at home and for you to be able to manage it, they will need to accept it. I mean, if they start to get angry and upset and even violent because they can't get out on their own, that's too difficult, because without direction orientation, without knowing their way, which chances are they won't have if they've got dementia, that's too dangerous. I mean, it's too dangerous, too difficult. So that will need to be in place, that you can have a secure area for them to be able to walk around in. And if it's a flat or a little apartment, maybe they're not used to walking around independently on their own outside, so that's probably good, isn't it? And when and if they want to go out, you may well have to go out with them, so that their direction orientation loss is not an issue, because you're with them to guide them. I mean, I know there's so many situations in different countries, so I'm just trying to cover most as best as I can. I mean, in New Zealand, most of us, or many of us, have, decent sized homes with big backyards, so that's the thing that we have to deal with. Lucky to have the nature and all of that, but hemming in a whole big backyard can be a bit of a big expense if you haven't got fences well secured all around. Okay, now the other thing in terms of keeping someone home with dementia, and if it is okay, is the safety of cooking in the kitchen, because leaving stuff on the stove and forgetting about it, that's a big safety risk, a huge hazard, and there needs to be safety in that area for the person to stay at home. But if they're your husband, for example, and they've never cooked much anyway, well, that's not a problem. If they've given up cooking and don't like cooking and have just faded out from that, it's not an issue. But if they still like to cook and put stuff on the stove and leave it unattended, and maybe you're having to go off to do the shopping or something, and it's taken an hour or so, only takes that much time for something on the stove to go up in flames, not at all okay. So you need to put in place things that they need to know that they're not to do the cooking, or some way just encourage them not to do the cooking, or have enough food at home in the fridge or a plate of food there for them so they know they've got something to eat. Now eat this, you don't need to do anything else, just so that if they've got something at hand that they like to eat, then chances are they won't want to do cooking, hopefully. Then, of course, probably another thing would be running the bath. I don't know if you have many baths overseas, but in New Zealand, we still do have those big baths. Running the bath, say you're away again, they want a bath, they run it, forget that the tap is on, water all throughout the house, all over the carpet, and a big, I mean, that's majorly inconvenient, so all these things, I know it's a lot to put in place, but if you're aware in advance that these things may well happen, if you can see in advance that they're starting to happen, then you can just quietly, well, not quietly, but, as efficiently as you can, get support, get help, to secure the fence around the garden, to make sure that there's meals on hand, in the fridge, maybe wrapped up or outside the fridge. Maybe they can still use the microwave, that's okay, because it's not a hazard so much, but the stove certainly is. But put all these things in place so that you can manage at home with them. They can manage, and it's a manageable situation. And if it is manageable, especially if their mood is stable and, they don't get angry when you put in place these measures, if they've got that personality where they, accept what you're saying and putting in place, fantastic, because that, of course, will make it much easier, won't it? So hopefully that is the situation. And if it's not, we'll go into that in other videos. So thank you for your likes, the next video. Thank you for your likes and support and subscriptions. I really appreciate it.